All right, let's do take two. I did a full recording of this video and my microphone was not connected to OBS. So let's give this another go. At least I have a script. Alrighty. Hi everyone. My name's Joe Adamski, and today I'm going to talk about the 4 online resources that we were tasked with investigating today. Those resources were eSkeletons, the Frog Dissection Gizmo, the Virtual Tour of Rome, and a virtual zoo collection from the Philadelphia School District. So let's start with eSkeletons. I thought the site was pretty cool. It allows students to look at and rotate different skeletal systems of different species of monkeys, apes, and humans side by side. What I found really notable was it helps highlight the similarities between the species in a way that would be impossible to do in the classroom setting unless it's a school with access to models of different skeletal systems of different animals. Much like eSkeletons, the Frog Dissection Gizmo site was pretty interesting as well because it mimicked and helped you follow the steps of a real dissection. You can dissect both male and female frogs, identify organs, sort them into the proper puzzle piece sections. Like, for example, the digestive system, you can sort the digestive system into the digestive system, like puzzle piece places. Same with the lymphatic system, the skeletal system, and other internal organs. At first, when I was going through the dissection process, I felt like I was kind of just randomly clicking everywhere. Didn't really intuit how to actually perform the dissection. And even after I started pulling pieces of the frog out and laying them on the tray, I was like, wait, what's going on here? What am I doing wrong? And then I realized, oh, there's different spots for me to put each organ in a little display thing, and that's when I felt like I was organically learning how to not only operate the program but how to dissect a frog. So that being said, it's different from a real dissection because there's no tactile element. Like I said, I kind of started off just clicking randomly, and I could honestly see my students doing something very similarly. But overall, I thought it was pretty cool. One that I really thought was cool was the virtual Rome tour. I've always kind of been really interested in learning more about Rome and ancient Rome and things like that. So to kind of see famous landmarks in 3D was exciting for me. I know I probably never will get the chance to go to Rome in person unless I get really, really lucky. But having that opportunity to go see the outside of the Colosseum, see Vatican and all the other different sites kind of helped me really connect with the city, short of physically being there. The final resource we're talking about is the virtual zoo. It feels more like a list of links to resources now, because a lot of the resources that I tried to view, they required a Facebook login and you have to go at a certain time, which might not be ideal for a school setting just because social media websites are likely more often than not blocked on student devices. I was also kind of bummed out to see that the Atlanta Zoo Panda Cam was discontinued because the pandas were moved to China in 2024. So I think this site kind of has a role more as a way to connect with the zoos and find out more information about the zoos than it is kind of like a resource for a virtual field trip. I mean, there were a few links that actually still connected back to live animals in exhibits. Like I watched an orangutan kind of just chilling out on in the grass, but there really wasn't much going on there. So I guess it's kind of like a real zoo in that way. But it wasn't as immersive feeling as the Rome tour. So when I think about these digital resources and how they compare to real world dissections or experiments or field trips, I see strengths, but I also see significant limitations. So while they don't really replace the actual experience of going to Rome or dissecting a frog, they do provide at least a ability to access opportunities that schools wouldn't otherwise have, which kind of leads in naturally to the second question: do digital resources help level the playing field for low income or high income schools? Well, I would say yes, but with a little bit of an asterisk next to it. Like, these sites provide students with experiences like international travel, comparative anatomy, dissection practice. All of those things could be costly or logistically impossible to plan out. It's hard because there's other things that, like, in the ideal situation where the school has the funding to be able to access these resources, but some school districts still at this point in 2025 don't have full access to physical hardware resources like internet access, school devices. My school's still struggling to get access to one-to-one with Chromebooks, so that would be a hard no for me in my class. And even login requirements, like with the whole thing with the Facebook login for the zoos. Overall, I do think that these resources are beneficial. They don't completely replace the real world experiences that a student could get from actually doing these things. However, the benefit here being it doesn't have to be the end all be all. Like, taking a virtual tour of Rome might spark a student's interest to help them realize, hey, I'm interested in learning more about this Rome place, or making those connections between, different species of animals and how their anatomy looks similar might help push a kid into learning more about human physiology and becoming a doctor one day. Like, it's more about the exposure than the actual experiences for me. So, but those are my thoughts. I appreciate you taking the time to watch and listen. I'm looking forward to the discourse, and I will talk to you later.